Josh Burden was behind the wheel at the time. The track was very dirty, oil down from earlier support categories as well, hard into the wall at BP Ultimate Reed Park. That set off a chain of events that continued on to practice this morning.
Ollie Jarvis with a frightening moment heading into the chase and having to throw the car into a deliberate slide, I think, and then slap the barrier. Watching the replay later on, he really wished he'd done something else, but I don't think he could have done, considered the time he had at his disposal.
And then it was the top of the mountain. Was it the following wind? Was it people pushing too hard? But a series of events for a number of different manufacturers, including Frederick Vervisch in the Valvoline Audi and hitting the wall hard enough to break the steering. His team did a cracking job of getting that car back out. So the number 2 car did live again and came out. It wasn't the same story later on.
And this was massive. Midway through the opening qualifying session, contact Lambo, contact AMG hard into the fence, and then collateral damage as well with the Mark car. Check this out in the background. Another car up into the wall and almost over it. Tyler Everingham. And fortunately, both drivers were able to hobble away from those respective accidents. And then this, Marvin Kirchhoffer hard into the fence, just past Reed Park. Before you get to McPhillamy, hard into the wall, and ultimately the car tips over. But another driver able to walk away from a monumental one here at Mount Panorama to do when they were on the racetrack.
Yeah, I don't think for anyone who's not raced here or in Australia before, it is a huge surprise, but it's certainly not a new scenario for anyone who's been spectating here through the years, the past few days, you know, every race. They've got to be mindful of it.
Oh,
so,
get up, mate, you're right.
Yeah. Just wants a good glimpse of these new GT3 cars. Well, come back to have a look at the Castrol Aston there.
Well, yeah, and the 999, one of the new Mercedes, of course. And as close as the Roo was there, would have been able to check the new headlight.
So that means they've come into the area, and the event takes all the precautions they possibly can to manage this, and with the Bathurst Regional Council and the wildlife groups in the area. But sometimes, unfortunately, it's just unavoidable, but it's a quintessentially Australian thing regardless, isn't it?
Now, and I'll tell you now, the international drivers, I know they're losing some time, but they will be absolutely lapping this up. We have to say, no Roos have been harmed so far, which is obviously quite important. The drivers did a great job, as did race control, in getting the red flag out straight away. So just waiting for the wildlife to clear.
Track conditions a bit greasy by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Struggling for traction. And yeah, just to confirm that
compound on there.
None have been hit by any racing cars, which is great. Lucky the timing worked with cars rolling out of pit lane on a slow outlap, just finding their feet. Pardon the pun.
So head to Shay Adam in the pit lane. Morning, Shay.
Good morning, John. I was just down in one of the garages all the way toward the pit exit. That tends to be a bit more German, so you can figure out which manufacturer that is for yourself. But there was a comment made once the kangaroos were bouncing across the track. Hey, kangaroos do exist. So the international team's really appreciating the fact that they get to see a little bit of wildlife. I'm heading down to Bentley now, John. I'm going to give you an update on those cars as soon as I get there, because last time we saw them, neither of them were running on track. One was having a full engine change, and one was trying to figure out what the problem was with their engine.
You obviously have a voice, Shay, that interests kangaroos, because as soon as you came on the PA, the Roo stopped and started listening to what you were saying there. So clearly interested in what's happening down